9 months ago, our dream of owning a motorhome became a reality.
In this vlog, we're going to share everything we considered when we chose our new van. Back in 2007, we gave up the rat race for a different lifestyle. We packed in work, we sold the house, we took the kids out of school, and we travelled Europe for a whole year.
With no Schengen in place, we travelled 16 countries and had an amazing year. But we couldn't do that forever and we had to come back to work.
"26,000 miles later, we vowed that as soon as the kids had left home and as soon as we could afford it, we'd travel again. But this time in a motorhome. From static caravan, touring caravan, demountable camper van and finally to a motorhome.
Have we now got the perfect travelling home?
If you ask 100 people what's the best leisure vehicle, you're going to get about 40,000 answers. Get a camper van, get a motorhome, get an A-class, get a Heimer, get an RV, get a massive one, get a little tiny one. There's 1,000 answers to that question. And they're all right and they're all wrong, because the only right vehicle for us is one that fits our particular needs. So what we did is we sat down and we started making a list of non-compromisers, must-haves, and that started whittling down our choice for us. First off is budget. Well, everyone knows you can spend thousands and thousands, you can spend millions, but we ain't got that sort of money. So what we did was sit down and work out what's the budget, and we will buy the best we can for that budget. The decision then is, do you buy new, do you buy used? We went new simply because it just gives us a peace of mind. For 3 years we've got a vehicle warranty, we've got 10 years habitation warranty, we won't need an MOT for 3 years. So all that peace of mind and reassurance just made it a no-brainer for us.
Living together in a cute small space
Is not all it's cracked up to be.
Living in a small space for us was about choosing the right layout for the van, for all three of us. And we're just going to show you some of the things that made us choose this van and whether they've been a good or bad choice. This is our lounge area.
Which is very comfy.
We wanted this layout because it gave us a living space as well as a bed. The seats are really comfy. This converts into a double bed, and underneath each of the lounge seats there's a belted seat that lifts up for passengers.
We've chosen to remove the fold-away passenger seats because they weigh in total about 50 kilos and make more storage underneath there, given there's only the two of us and we don't travel with anybody else. You'll notice Jane is leaning back into this corner. So some vans don't have this bulkhead divider, which actually is for some is a good thing because it widens it up. So I always feel that this sometimes is a bit of an intrusion, but actually it's nice to be able to sit back into that corner and have some support rather than just having to sit bolt up on your bench seat. So having this either side is a real positive.
The only thing that does frustrate me a little bit about the new vans is the colour scheme, and whilst it is lovely and the coffee and cream is beautiful, it's just when you have a dog and you're in and out of the van in the weather, having cream carpets is a bit of a nightmare.
What this lounge gives us is just flexibility. We can sit here in these chairs, we can sit on the benches, we can face this way, that way. So depending where your view might be, we tend to adapt where we sit. But either way, we're just really comfy.
We also have a removable table that will fit here that we can dine on or we can work on. It's a good design in some ways because we can then take the table outside and we can put it away so that we've got all the space.
The downside to that is it's a little bit flimsy compared to those that are on a pole or a pedestal. Some of the modern vans have got this beautiful pole and a table that slides in, out, up, down, folds, and it's stunning. But now we've got rid of the table, it's folded away in a cupboard, so we've got all this space. The downside as well is when we use the table, because it's not on a pole, it's got legs at either end of the table, there's a tendency to kick them and knock them and spill drinks and so on. So everything, as we've said, every inch of the way
is a compromise. An absolute lack of USBs as usual in this van. So there's not a USB point up here, so we have to improvise for that. So at some point, I think I'm going to spend some money and have some USB sockets installed around the van. It's just a bit of a niggle of mine when you spend so much money and you don't get any in this day and age.
However, they are first world problems.
Yes, I guess so.
What we like about the kitchen is the good workspace.
Crumble time.
Plenty of storage up at the top. We didn't have the microwave installed because that would have taken these two cupboards here, but instead we've got lots of storage space. A 3 gas ring hob, good size oven and grill, plenty of storage, and a really nice size fridge.
If you're looking at choosing a layout for yourself and you're thinking of a French bed, I've read lots of stuff online about they're no good, the corners cut off, you can't get in and out and all that kind of stuff. Consider it, you've got to be reasonably agile. You know, if you've got mobility problems or you've got a dicky knee or something like that, then it's not going to be that straightforward. But fortunately, neither of us have that. But what we have found is that actually having this corner cut off here, on this particular manufacturer, it's actually not that it's not that big an angle, so it makes no odds. And I sleep at this side, and I'm 6 foot, and my feet are cozy under duvet, and I can easily get out of bed here. You can get out of bed there. So for us, it's been spot on, like everything else with the layout we've chosen.
One of the things we chose to invest in when we bought the van was to upgrade the mattress to a Hypnos mattress, and this is a really good thick mattress that will be good for our backs. Other things we like about the bedroom area: the strip lighting above the cupboards, 4 good sized cupboards for plenty of storage, the overbed roof light with the fly screen and blackout blind, and also 2 reading lights. What we don't have here, as in the rest of the van, are any USB ports, so we've had to fashion our own little USB links that fit into the socket there and go all the way around to our bedroom points there, with a couple of little magnets underneath the cupboards for us to put our phones.
There. I'm watching my favourite YouTube channel.
Andrew hates cushions.
I don't like scatter cushions.
It never looks tidy, to be fair. The layout we chose comes with a privacy screen, which is really handy when you're getting ready. Quite a big area here to get dry, and it leads into the bathroom. Plenty of storage, drop down sink, and of course the loo. The Thetford loo.
Oops, it's from your cleavage there.
Oh, very nice. The shower cubicle is dead easy to use. It just opens up on a bifold door, magnetic catch, and there's the bathroom cubicle. So the shower cubicle itself is plenty big enough to move around in. Height wise, it's great. There's a vent up here to open up, and this shower head is superb for power. The hot water controls on the super hot setting are absolutely boiling hot. If we have it set right to hot, it peels your skin off, and it's just such a lovely place to be when you're having a shower.
Control panel for the vehicle's got a master switch to turn the panel on and off, a button to press which activates the water pump, got an awning light for outside, a master switch to turn all the lights on and off, and then the key things really are the battery button, which gives you the status of the battery. We're showing full now because we're on electric hookup, and water contents. So we're getting pretty low. We've had 6 nights on this 100 litre tank of water, and that's including 3 showers each, so we're probably going to get another night out of it. It's a really basic control panel. I think there are better on the market there, but it is what it is. Now I've got used to using it and estimating our weights and measures, then it's actually okay. Next up, you've got heating. You see it's proximity control, so as soon as you wave your hand in front of it, it comes to life. A simple adjust. So you've got a frost setting, so we would always leave that on so that overnight, if the temperature dropped, it would activate the heating to make sure that pipework etc doesn't freeze. There's actually a night setting with a little moon. It keeps temperature, I think, of about 16 or 17 degrees. We actually find that too warm overnight because a lot of the pipework and ducting's under the bed, so the bed gets warm and maybe too warm. Simple adjustment up, and you can see the orange lightning symbols come on to say that now the heating's active and it's using electricity to heat. 2 little blobs above there. There's actually a possibility of 3. I've got it set on 2. It really depends on what kind of electric hookup you're on as to whether you're on a 6 amp, a 10 amp, or maybe a 16 amp, because it will draw more or less depending how many you've got, so you don't trip a bollard out on a site. Or you can switch over to gas, turn that off, switch to gas, and it will ignite and use gas for the heating. Using gas, actually, it's quicker and it seems to work more efficiently than electricity. You can also have gas and electric at the same time to really give you a boost. The water heating can work off electric or gas. You can also run it off gas and electric, or just on gas, and the same plus or minus. We tend to use the first setting there like that, which is like a more of a eco setting for washing up, hand washing, that kind of stuff. But when we go for a shower, we get it to crank right up to the top, and that'll get us piping hot water in the shower. So the water boiler holds about 8 litres of water, so the hotter we get that, the longer we can have in the shower, diluting it with a little bit of cold.
If you're still with us this far into the video, you maybe want to go make a cup of tea, but thank you for being patient. Once you've made your brew, come back, because we've still got a few things to talk about, but not many. If you've found it useful, and I hope you have, then please like the video or share the video or even subscribe to the channel. It'll help other people find it and it may be of use to them as well. Whilst I've mentioned the frost settings on the heating and on the water, I'll also mention one upgrade that we've had, which is the winter pack. That was specified when we ordered the van. The winter pack consists of heating elements and insulation of the fresh and wastewater tanks. Once you turn on the tank heaters, they will only actually activate if there's water in the tank because they're on a float switch. They're also thermostatically controlled. So those 3 things have to happen. It's got to be switched on, got to be water in the tank, and the temperature has got to drop to below 5 degrees. Those things happen, they will activate. They will draw a maximum of 5 amps. So if you're not on electric hookup, it will eat through your leisure battery very, very quickly. So if you're going to use them, you may want to consider more battery power, which we are doing. Now for us, we were always going to take this van to the Arctic Circle, to Lapland and beyond, up to Nordkapp. We're planning that this year, September time, so they will, I'm sure, come in handy. Much to my frustration, even after spending hundreds of pounds on the winter pack, I still had to go under the vehicle and insulate the pipes going from the tanks, i.e. the drain down pipe and the wastewater pipe, which is crazy. Another extra we chose when we ordered the van was this extractor. So it works as a normal roof vent, but you can also turn it on and it will extract all the steam from cooking, etc. Touch sensitive controls, but you can also, as well as extract, you can also get it to bring cold air in from outside.
The cockpit area of the van is actually quite a nice place to be. It's very much like a car. In fact, a lot of the switchgear and everything is taken from the Peugeot range of cars. It's based on the Peugeot Boxster van. It's got a diesel engine, 2.2 litre, with a manual 6-speed gearbox, and it's 140 horsepower. It's not going to set your pants on fire performance wise, but if you've never driven in a modern van, then you might be surprised at how good it is. A downside to it is because you've used the car dashboard and you're sat in a van quite high up, depending on how tall you are, that part of the steering wheel actually obscures a section of your speedometer, which is actually the key section, which is why you'll see a lot of people have fitted heads-up display and things like that. But I manage. I didn't pay for upgraded sat-nav built into the vehicle. You can see we've got our cheap and cheerful Orex 80 quid sat-nav there. The reason being, sat-nav for the vehicle was over a £700 option, but was actually car sat-nav. There was no possibility of entering your dimensions in for it to be relevant to a bigger vehicle like this. So not worth the upgrade for me. The stereo's okay, but that's it at best. Lots of times we can't get DAB and we can't even get FM sometimes, and I think that's because the aerial is housed in the passenger wing mirror. It just doesn't seem to do very well, but not a problem. It connects to iPhones, we get the telephone calls coming through, no problem, and we connect Spotify so we can listen to music. We did pay to have a rear view camera installed in lieu of having a rear view mirror. No windows in the back of the van, so it makes reversing and just general driving down the road a lot easier. The Remus blinds were also an extra, and they're essential. One of the things about if you're wild camping is you want to be able to leave quickly if you need to. So with these, from the inside, you can close them away, get in your vehicle and drive away, rather than having to go outside and remove silver screens and so on. So for me, silver screens have got the place, and we have a silver screen, but I don't use them automatically. But every night these blinds get used.
We have had some amazing park-ups.
Once you've decided on the location you want to be at, you've got to consider the dimensions of your vehicle. Ours isn't the biggest by a long chalk, but it is 7.3 metres long and nearly 2.7 metres wide, so you need to be confident in driving it, and not just on the A roads and the motorways, on the back lanes as well. And also, don't forget, you may have to reverse it. So this alone might influence your choice of a motorhome or a camper van or leisure vehicle. We know that we've not been able to get to places just because of the dimensions of our vehicle. We actually use a sat-nav where we can program those dimensions in, so it will avoid taking us into some sticky situations. But nevertheless, like everything else on a motorhome, there's a compromise. Once you've traversed the urban and the suburban environment and you've got to your dream park up, there are some limiting factors for how long you may be able to stay there, and of course that's your utilities. So this vehicle holds 100 litres of fresh water via a water filler point, and that amount of water lasts us between 4 and 6 days, probably depending how many showers we have in that time. We've also got 70 litres of wastewater, which you've got to be able to dump either at a drive over waste point or use a bucket to pour it somewhere. Another consideration is your electricity. Now at the moment we're on electric hookup, so we don't really need to worry. But if we go off grid and we stop in an Instagram position or maybe an old car park, then we've got to consider how long our leisure battery will last. Well, we've just got the standard leisure battery that came with the vehicle, and most people buying a motorhome will probably get similar, about 95 or 100 amp hours. That for us will last us probably at best about 2 nights. When we ordered the van, we asked for a solar panel. So we've got a 100-watt solar panel, and that in conjunction with the battery will get us a longer stay somewhere. Now, it might get us 4 nights. If we're in summer and we've got really good sunlight, it could actually go more or less indefinitely without having to drive the vehicle and charge the battery that way or go to a site with a hookup. Now, a lot of people start investing more and more money in solar and lithium, and that's a whole new video. But if you're looking at your wants and needs from a van, just do an audit and have a reasonable look at what your power consumption is going to be. Our typical power consumption will be charging mobile phones, using a bit of TV in the evening for a couple of hours, and of course lights. In winter we get less time because it's darker sooner, so we use more lights, and we also use heating, which drains some of the battery. But in summer when it doesn't go dark till late, we're not using as much electricity. That's what you've got to weigh up. We carry 2 6-kilogram refillable gas law cylinders for LPG. It runs our heating and our hot water and of course cooking. It also runs the fridge when we're off grid. Now off grid we will use through summer about 1 litre a day, which is really good, and that's the fridge and it's hot water and cooking. During the winter months we use a bit more, 2.5 to 3 litres, because we've then got the addition of the heating system running off gas. So consider that when you're planning your use of your motorhome. LPG is readily available across Europe. It's really easy. In the UK it's a little trickier and getting more difficult. We've got a trip coming up to Finland, and that's one country where there's very little or any LPG. So we just have to plan carefully how we can fill it up at a petrol station or some kind of service point. However, it is considerably cheaper on the forecourt than it is to exchange cylinders. And finally, it's the toilet cassette. So for 2 people using the toilet cassette fully, you're going to get 2.5 days use. After that, you've got to find a service point, some means of emptying it. So that is a contributing factor when you're deciding where you want to be and how long you're going to be there for. So, has the dream of being able to park up anywhere you like, just like on Instagram, become a reality? And the answer is sometimes. Careful planning on your access and careful management of your resources, and you can get to some amazing places. But you've also got to consider, are you allowed to be there? And everyone's got their own opinion on that.